I remember 1983. Oh crap, that was a long time ago. Mike Tyson and Tyron Biggs at the sports festival, and they wouldn't pick up the garbage in our hallway. And I'm like, this is our home. They say find it better than your home. No one's gonna come clean this garbage. It stinks. And bugs are coming beyond Air Force Academy. And they were like, you beefing with me? I said, I'm a captain and a heavyweight of the US team. These are the little wrestlers are cutting weight and we mutual respect. And they were both like, are you beefing with me? Their coach come out. He says he will take your shoulder out and your knee out in the same move. I mean, I wrestled for 11 years against the Siberian Monster. And his thing was, I'm going to break your neck. Don't fight so hard. And my thing was, I'm here ready to die. I'm going to fight to the minute. And that's the only way I survived. Everybody would lay down. Everybody would get thrown around. I spent hours in the dark by myself. You know, you win and lose by yourself. Time goes like this. You're sleeping, me and you just talk, and we've been on the phone for an hour, 25 minutes. The time is ticking. As soon as I close my eyes, the time is ticking. You can't get it back. So I cannot help getting older by a minute, but definitely can help getting healthier by what goes in my mouth. The most powerful drug is what you consume, you think is food, but mostly it's poison.
Sifu Slim. Before we get started on today's discussion with Matt Ghaffari, we'd ask you for a big favor. If you just take a moment to go down below and hit the like button, we'd appreciate that. It goes a long way to support our message and bringing that to you, entertaining information, all those things. And we welcome your comments. Hopefully they'll be fun, respectful, and engaging. And we'll take this on and we'll see what happens. So Matt, pleasure to connect with you after these many weeks and months trying to connect. Tell us a little about yourself and what's going on with you right now.
Well, Sifu, I enjoying getting healthier every day and wiser. And Olympics are coming up. So once every quadrennium, which is every 3 years, Olympians on high demand, but also coaching. And we just had our Olympic trials in middle of April. First training camp is end of May, and then Colorado in Azerbaijan, and then Colorado Springs in 2 weeks in June. So I'll be going there to coach the heavyweights. Excited about that. I started a residency program there. I was athlete 001 Greco-Roman who resigned my job and moved from Arizona to Colorado Springs. So going full circles, I'm excited.
Fantastic. So Colorado Springs, that gets you up to what altitude?
7-9, and Air Force Academy is about 12, and Pikes Peak is 14.
So you're at 7,900 feet at the training center in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That's fantastic.
It's a little bit more than halfway to 14 because Pikes Peak, we used to go on top of it all the time, and that's 14 something. And Air Force Academy is 9, 10, a little bit higher than Colorado Springs.
How are you getting up to that altitude to do your training?
depends. When you need altitude adjustment when you come from sea level, but with the very slowly adjusting your body.
I mean, when you were
I-
doing your training up there, did you do hikes from your base camp, or was your base camp already up that high?
No, there's just a path. It just looks like real low tiles on wood and steps. You just keep climbing. I remember for big competitions, we did max VO2 tests, which I went up there, jump rope, bicycled, wrestled, did manual resistance till I passed out. That would designate when I come to how my oxygen level adjustment was, but loved it. It is a unique situation where the harder you try to breathe, there's less air. So you have to calm. You can't panic. Even when you're climbing, you're trying to breathe just out of your nose, in and out. Because the faster you breathe, there's less air goes in and dizzy you get. So yeah, we did a lot of climbs. You know, people drove up there for some training sometimes, and they got up there too fast, but hiking was good. We used to do that as a team building event. It was a early morning to afternoon. And if a lightning hits, you threw your sunglasses, anything metal away, because those rocks keeps the charge.
So when you were spending the night at the camp, how far did you climb to get to a place where you're doing some of that training you just mentioned, Matt?
Well, Sifu was my coach. So I was at Olympic Training Center, and our strength and conditioning coach, who I was the first athlete to get a program to get better for Atlanta, got hired at Air Force Academy as strength and conditioning coach for football. So I would go to early mornings to Air Force Academy to train weightlifting there and push his truck with a picture of my main competitors on the back of the tailgate. Because it's almost like fencing. You only have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and you have to push back foot, then front foot. You can't walk normal, and you have to push with your belly button. You cannot have your arm. So he would put a belt around my elbows so I don't press the truck. So I just push with my center of gravity. But he had an idea like once a month, medicine ball, towels, dumbbells, jump rope, stationary bike, to go up there and do some manual resistance, some wrestling, and get a good workout of it. And Alan was a genius. He wrote a lot of books, Coach Hedrick, and a lot of most people do bench presses, dumbbell presses. He had a keg of beer full of sand for me to press. As I was going up, he would move the sand, because wrestling, you never have two hands in the same spot, and the guys always move it. And then when I got good with the keg of beer, he had a 10-inch PVC pipe, and it was 15 feet long, full of liquids. And I had to hold it, and the liquids would go back and forth. So you had to balance it, things like that.
That's really
Out of
smart.
the box thinking, very out of the box thinking. And this is early 90s. He used to shove me in now they call it ice pad, but it was ice cold pool. He always says more than 4 ice bag, just go in the ice pool. Just don't waste the plastic. And I used to be there for 15 minutes. Now people are like, oh, I did I did a cold plunge for 2 minutes. I did an ice bath. He's like, shit, excuse my language. But I said, I used to do that in 80s when I was in college, and it was a whirlpool, and it was 15 minutes till your toes was going to fall off.
How did that affect your heart and your nervous system?
Well, there's more studies out now. There is more complete that your liver releases the protein that has unlimited supply that will help you revitalize, stay younger, injury. For me, it was mental toughness. It was discipline. I remember asking for five things: four neoprene booties for fingers, toes, and one knee pads for my private areas. And I would just go to my happy place. No one can hurt me, and I'll just zone out. Now, I can tell you, everybody says the first minute was the worst and all that, but what I used to fight with the trainers from college to Colorado Springs that if it's not 40 degrees, I'm not going to go in there. And they say, you're using all of our ice. Other athletes need ice bags. I'm like, they can use the ice whirlpool right after me. Make a line. But I will go to 7-Eleven, Circle K, any convenience store, buy 10 bags. Because that was a big thing. If I was going to commit to do this 15 minutes, 40 degrees was the temperature I was going to go in. And I was very strict on everything. Shall be written, shall be done. I am a perfectionist. You know,
Did your
didn't
mom
play do-
did your
didn't
mom
play
share
dart.
those stories about you when you were a little kid, age 4 through 8, how you were different in that way?
I think my mom said I was just very active boy. I had no sisters, three younger brothers. We had the volleyball net in our kitchen. We had a soccer goal in our living room. And I wouldn't have patience to wait for my dad to drive me to school. And I bike through busy downtown for 45 minutes. So I can get there at 6 o'clock so I can play volleyball before class. So things like that.
So you had
Uh,
jumping ability, and then you grew into a big person.
yeah,
How did that
one
affect
of
your
the
jumping
most,
ability?
well, Sifu, this is a top secret. My first two gold medals were in volleyball. I was in Junior Olympics in Iran. So, old Soviet system, if you're over 6 foot, they pick you for basketball or volleyball. I think that's what I wrestled because I had three brothers. We get into fights and it was wrestling, but it was just brothers fighting with each other. It was two of them against me. So I wanted to wrestle, and they would say, you can't wrestle, you're too tall. Wrestling is for 48 kilo, 105 pounds, short people. So they said, we need you for volleyball or basketball. I said, national sports soccer. I want to play football. They says, no, volleyball. So they would not let me. And I remember three things I wanted to do: play table tennis, wrestle, and do weightlifting. Those are the three things I really wanted to do in early high school, and they wouldn't let me.
So what years are we talking about when they first told you we're going to put you in volleyball? What years? Late 70s?
Yeah, early 70s.
Early 70s.
I was here around 77, my high school year. 76,
Okay.
I came in a summer camp and stayed
You,
bicentennial.
what year did you graduate high school, Matt?
79.
Okay. I graduated in 81 in Annandale, New Jersey, North Hunterdon Regional High School. We're a big wrestling area. We had Voorhees, North Hunterdon, Hunterdon Central, and the coach from Hunterdon Central is high school, world renowned, but he was also, in my opinion, excessive. And we can talk about him in another meeting. I've seen
Yeah,
articles
well,
on him.
Sifu, I was in Paramus in Bergen County, and I wrestled 2 years, 78 and 79. Went undefeated as a team in 78. We were fourth in the state. And in 79, our team was outstanding, and we had one loss. And Pascal Hills was our main competitor, but Bergen Catholic. But our coach was very excessive too, and he had to switch schools just because things he was doing these days are not acceptable. But
Yeah.
we couldn't go to bathroom. We had a bucket in the corner. Doors was locked, and
Wow.
yeah, and we had toilet paper and a bucket, and because people wanted to go for the cold air. A lot of teaching the young men how to be disciplined.
So I've been telling people for since I was in high school, so 77 to 81, I've been telling people that the wrestling program is the most challenging training program in high school sports, in my opinion, because you have to have the aerobic capacity, the strength capacity, the gymnastics capacity, the will to fight to the very end. You're training with people who are sometimes heavier than you, sometimes lighter. You're carrying people around when you're exhausted, and you're climbing rope. And so I'm going to show you modern day high school, I believe, wrestling program, and we'll see how advanced they become. And we'll hear what Coach Matt has to say about some of this training.
Yeah, that's the Bulgarian bag.
You know the name of that one, Coach Matt?
Yeah, that's a Bulgarian bag. This is one of our friends and coaches of USA Wrestling. You could see the Bulgarian logos on the walls. We used to just take a truck tire tube and fill it up with sand. This is just more advanced, but all of these are basically strength training before you can grab a guy your own size and lift them. Yeah. Yeah, these guys are all everything is to get stronger, so you are not hurting your partner. You always try to protect them. Throwing a dummy is much better than making a mistake when you're beginners and throwing the.
Matt, what is the one that they're swinging around? I saw the Bulgarian bag. What's this other one that they're swinging?
That's the elastic band. So you're going under one arm and coming up. So it's like duck under. So you're doing the speed training there. So it's not weight, it's resistant band. So
Yeah.
what you do, you pull the arm to get your head under it, and once you go under it, you have to drive your back of your head to the guy's armpits and move all his weight off of you. So all his weights go to the opposite leg so you can trip it. So it's just wrestling, drilling, shadow wrestling with a little bit of resistance band.
And Supple's training, you've heard of this company?
Yeah, Sipo. He was a European champion. He was a Bulgarian national team. And he came and tried to help us in Colorado Springs, worked for USA Wrestling, but he had entrepreneur spirit because of, again, when he was in Bulgaria, you couldn't be entrepreneur. He was under communism, and he wanted to bring some of the medicine ball. And again, we would take the tire, tube of a truck tire and sew it and fill it up with sand and then carry it in our arm and move it around. So he just put handles on it and made it out of leather. So he's one of the good guys. Him and his family go to tournaments and show different techniques of strength training and things like that.
I'm going to click back on. We'll see it a little bit more, and then we'll go back to our discussion.
Sure. You see, all of those are resistant band. So if you notice, they're all pulling. Wrestling is a pulling sport. You never push anybody away.
They don't like it when you do all that pushing away stuff. You can get a penalty point, correct?
Correct. That's passivity. That's not engaging. So the most aggressive man's in the center and he says, come on.
So the other thing I like about this is the balance work that they're doing. So they're creating strength, flexibility, coordination, and balance simultaneously.
And the one that you're doing right now is showing transfer of the weight when they want to throw, arm throw, shoulder throw, you got the guy's weight on your shoulder. Now you have to bend your knee and use your hips to elevate them and throw them over your head. So if you push click, they kneel down and they throw the weight over their head. So this shows them how the weight transfer from your lower back to mid back to neck, and then you dump them. So now this one, they're just lifting up, like doing high pulls. So it's almost imitating wrestling as circuit training. So that way your heart's going 100 miles an hour the whole time. You're just doing different exercises so you don't get bored.
You called this man
C-post. C-post. This is a to-play wrestling school, and that's the coach and his son runs it.
You know the coach?
Oh, yeah. 40 years, 30 years. Yeah, the wrestling hasn't changed much, Sifu, just like martial art. The schools have just got smarter and trying to prevent injury by doing a lot of this stuff, not with a live partner.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Muhammad Ali in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s was doing a lot of sparring. He unfortunately could take a punch, so he got a lot of damage. And his coach, his medical doctor, I should say, who was like a coach and like a father figure to him, Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, Cuban-American from Florida, he said the problem with Ali is that he did all that sparring and he could take a punch, and he said your liver doesn't respond well to hits. Your kidneys don't respond well. And of course your brain, and you get pugilistic Parkinson's, which it looks like Rickson Gracie, who's one of the idols of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He said he's got Parkinson's. Very likely it's from getting blows.
Well, Sifu, can you tell me which part of your body can take hits?
None.
Yeah. I mean, I explain to young kids, you dislocate your finger, they're never going to be straight to look the same again.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
I played volleyball and my fingers were all going 80 mile different directions. So it's not like a car that you could take it to the body shop and put original parts and looks the same. Never be the same. Every scratch, every burn, every hit.
So you mentioned damage and preventing injury. So the Pit MMA out in Arroyo Grande in north of Santa Barbara is a gentleman I interviewed. He's originally from Hawaii, big white guy who was Chuck Liddell's coach. And on the interview I did with him, he said years ago, he was one of the first people I had heard this from, but he'd been doing it for a long time. He said they do very little live sparring in his MMA center called the Pit MMA. And he said they do lots of drills. So they're, doing all of the boxing hand training, all of the movement training, like you see Mike Tyson doing. And they're, of course, working the ground. They're working jiu-jitsu and sambo and the other grappling arts, wrestling, takedowns, all these types of things. But they're not doing all this live sparring because his athletes get injured doing that and they have much shorter careers. He wants to get a longer duration out of these people so that they can make money and then he can provide a center for them to earn some money, and then he makes money because of that. So tell me if you'd ever heard of the sparring martial arts or the punching and kicking martial arts backing off of live sparring, and when you first heard about that idea.
Hi, this is Sifu Slim, author of The Aging Athlete.
In this book, you're going to get to hear about two different groups of former high-performance athletes. One group, which is made up of 90% of the former athletes, does not do physical activity on a regular basis and tends to suffer the consequences of a sedentary lifestyle. The other group, which is made up of 10% of the former athletes, is doing physical activity on a regular basis and tends to thrive through the aging process, or at least has a better chance at coping with the aging process. We could have taken these folks to a lab and done all kinds of tests on them. Instead, we slowed them down and sat them down and asked them, in their own words, to describe why they're wired the way they are, so that we all, former athletes and non-athletes, can use some of their inspirational and motivational and mindset lessons in our own lives. I hope you pick up a copy today. You can go to theagingathlete.com. And when you have a chance to read it, I'd love to hear back from you to find out what your thoughts are on the stories of these aging athletes.
Well, Sifu, I coach MMA with the best of them. So most of their champions are wrestler. So starting with Randy Couture, Hall of Fame, 2 different weight champion, Dan Henderson, Matt Linland, Chael Saunders, they're all wrestlers, friend of mine that I coach. So we did not, same thing in wrestling. We do a lot of drilling and circuit training, simulating. So if it's a 25-minute fight that you have to fight in 6 months, you're not sparring 25 minutes. You're doing a jumping rope, hitting the bag, or you're putting a 16-pound gloves and you're doing boxing drills, but also you're boxing with a partner, so the partner can hit you with 16 pounds. But it's almost like boxing, weightlifting. 16 pounds, you can't do any damage. And then most wrestlers are great at everything but kicking. So if they try to get cocky and think they can do Muay Thai, and that's where they get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's leg comes up, you just throw a punch in the face and the leg goes back down. So that's a counter. Or they teach you if the guy's going to kick you, you lift your leg and you limp it. But those are all comes with drilling. So I can tell you in my scenario for wrestling, for Olympics, training for 5 Olympics, we have a 2-hour drilling session in the morning. We have weightlifting, rest, run, rest, drill, which is high intensity, 50% resistant. So he's not like a wet noodle, we call it. The guy has to be able to give you live simulation. And then we take a rest and maybe have 2 or 3 8-minute full goes, but mostly it's situational wrestling. So if you're not good on the jiu-jitsu part, you might just do live jiu-jitsu for a little bit just to counter. If you're not good on the boxing, you might do a little bit live boxing. But a lot of circuit training and a lot of different partners. We call it shark bait. So the idea is you see 7 different techniques coming at you. So the part that everybody forgets about any athletics is the intelligence of each scenario, each move. So people talk about some guys playing checker, someone's playing chess. Wrestling, you are doing a move, counter move, 3 moves ahead, and if he does that, if he's a lefty, if he's a righty, your processor has to process movement and intel. So if the guy puts the left leg football forward before the match start, I already know which leg I'm attacking, what he wants. So a lot of experience come handy because you got to be in those situations. In college, we do it a lot. We give a guy a leg and say blow the whistle. So you either got to fight down or you got to be able to take him down. So you're already halfway there. So, you don't have to. If you get 2 guys together that are very good, it's going to be the most boringest thing. It'd be a stalemate. It'd be two kings looking at each other, move after move, and then nothing happens. So that's why they keep changing the rules for TV and Olympics, because you get great wrestlers and they all counter each other so good the match ends up being not exciting.
So what amazed me way back in the early days of the UFC is how the wrestlers either had natural ability at striking because of all of that posturing that they do, and their shoulders, they just naturally seem to be good at keeping their hands out front and moving that whole body through to get into the punching zone. And I don't know if that was something that they were coached on to a significant degree, or if a lot of these people like Matt Hughes just had natural punching ability.
No, everybody had a boxing coach, all they teach you, that if you want to hit, you hit with your hips, not with your arms.
Yeah.
You hit the bag enough. So the hardest thing is teaching wrestling. And what is wrestling has is body awareness. You go inside, you will know which leg is tight, which leg is hurting. You know your body. My doctor's always saying that the wrestlers know the anatomy better than any other athletes, because we are attacking the ankle, the knee, the hip, the arm, the wrist, the torso, the head, the shoulder, the finger, the wrist. It's all, where the weaknesses are. They grab your wrist, you go against the thumb. So you can't teach all of those, but someone can come in and say, here, hit left. We call this a jab. And here, if you want to hurt them, you put a cigarette out, twist your toe, and put all your weight behind it, and then body shot. Mm-hmm. Or, and if the guy's exposed, you go uppercut. So it's 3 moves, I remember 1983. Oh, crap, that was a long time ago. Mike Tyson and Tyrell Biggs at the sports festival, and they wouldn't pick up the garbage in our hallway. And I'm like, this is our home. They say find it better than your home. No one's going to come clean this garbage. It stinks. And bugs are coming beyond Air Force Academy. And they were like, you beefing with me? I said, I'm a captain and a heavyweight of the U.S. team. These are the little wrestlers are cutting weight, and we mutual respect. And they were both like, are you beefing with me? Their coach come out. He says, he will take your shoulder out and your knee out in the same move. You don't want to mess with him.
You mean you were talking to Tyson and Biggs at this time?
Oh yeah, they were very young, and Tyson and Biggs had a beef, and Biggs beat him in that tournament.
Yeah.
And I was there. It's like, that's why I got all this. They call it 5-ring fever. I went to Colorado Springs Air Force Academy in 1983 and never looked back. I think that's when I decided what I want to become for life. My parents didn't like it. My advisors didn't like it, but yeah.
Farmer. I don't know where Matt Hughes is from. Iowa, Idaho.
Iowa.
Iowa.
No, Iowa. Yeah. He's at schools in Iowa too. I mean, that's a prime example of it. You take the guy off his feet, he can't hit you, he can't jujutsu you, he can't do anything. And you bring him down on his head.
He's got the jujitsu, the boxing, all the wrestling, fitness.
Yeah, just think about a great boxer, Muhammad Ali, even. You put him on his back on the ground, he can't box. He
No.
has to be in his feet dancing. You pick up Mike Tyson off the ground and plant him head first, he would think twice. Like he always says, everyone has a plan. Now you're going to the dark side.
Yeah, this is the dark side. It's unfortunate, but this happens to these some of these high performance people, musicians. I
I want to
teach.
tell you something. I want to tell you something. And this is, I'm a 62-year-old wise man now. It happens to everybody. I had one of my heroes, Billy Mills, only 10,000 meter winner Olympics. And the only reason he won, he was looking for a place to pull and fake an injury. He wanted to quit. Every champion, every beginner have the same voices in their head. The brain is there to protect you. The brain would say, today's not a good day. You're tired. Take a day off. Your knee's hurting. Slow up. Why are you going so fast? The whole time. And when things go good, you're excited. And when things go bad, you get to the dark, depressed side. You have to master that. The voice, the coach, your own Sifu can help you or hurt you. You know, look at the most successful college football coach in TV, Prime, Dion, Neon Sanders. I had a thing with him privately, fundraiser for gold medalist in Atlanta, Michael Johnson in Dallas. And he was very religious then. And he wanted to close his club and sell no alcohol. And the gist of it was he tried to kill himself and he wasn't successful at it. He said he even failed on that. Now, here's the guy who played baseball, football, all the money, all the kids, everything. But when you're a perfectionist, you know, my spouse gets upset with me. When you're a perfectionist, we don't strive for mediocre. Either, you do it right or don't do it. But once you decide to do it, 90% is not good enough. So if your goals are not met, if you train your heart out and things don't happen, then your hopes and dreams are gone. So you don't see the forest. You just see the obstacle in front of you. You see that you want to give up. Yeah, it's mental hurt, mental awareness, mental illness, all very real. All athletes, high school athletes, college athletes, non-athletes, now with social media and cyberbullying, people get mad and, they do what normally they will not do. If you look at all the Super Bowls, I mean, I was watching Denver Nuggets, the champion of NBA, like lose by 40 points last night. Once you have no chance, like in Super Bowl first quarter, then it's a blowout. Why would you try hard and might get injured? If you're winning, you don't care if you get injured. I mean, I wrestled for 11 years against the Siberian Monster. And his thing was, I'm going to break your neck. Don't fight so hard. And my thing was, I'm here ready to die. I'm going to fight to the minute. And that's the only way I survived. Everybody would lay down. Everybody would get thrown around. I spent hours in the dark by myself. You win and lose by yourself. Every 10-year-old to 40-year-old gonna train 4 to 6 for some sport. Doesn't matter wrestling, football, judo, basketball, travel soccer. There's a 2-hour practice after school. And it don't matter college football or pro football. But pros is now spelled out in their contract. They do stretching and they do things, but It's all the stuff that no one sees that gives you the confidence. The stuff that you get up. Kobe said it best. You train 4 to 6 and go back to sleep. You get up with your competitors or your teammates. You already have 2 hours in the bag. After 10 years, you're 10 times better than them. And now most athletes, motivational speakers, they call the rule of 100. If you do something, you pick up a guitar and you cannot even play it the first day. But on the day 100, you can do a song. Yeah. My opinion.
So
People want success immediately. And if
yeah,
they don't get it,
yeah.
it's like fast food. They don't get it, now they're upset.
Instant gratification is the word that's being tossed around the last 50 years. And
Yeah, I don't want to go with that because that's that they use that from eating sugar because some chemicals in your tongue goes right to your brain and releases dopamine. The studies about NutraSweet, Splenda, they don't care if it's sweet. They just want to trigger that direct line from your tongue to your dopamine. And they said that if you put the sweets down and you do 10 burpees and you jump 10 times and do 10 sit-ups, your dopamine releases just like you ate cream puffs.
yeah,
So
yeah.
instant gratification is because of fast food, video games. And the funniest thing is, if they're not good at it today, that one of I have an 11-year-old that I deal with, and if he's not really good at it, and what the use of practice and learning, they give up already.
So this competitor of yours, Alexander Karelin, what part of Russia is he from?
Siberia.
Siberia. And
Yep.
did he grow up being in a farming family? Do you know anything about that?
He grew up being an athlete. I wrestled in his hometown. There's a long story, but it was a Russian tournament called Karelin Cup. But no Russians wanted to fight him in his hometown, in front of his mom, his dad, his wife. And they thought he's going to kill people. He's only been a countryman. So they came to me at the World Cup and they said, we want you to come and wrestle in this. This is a closed Russian tournament. But just because of you, we want to invite you. I said, you're crazy? And I said, I'm going to recruit my best friends and we're going to put a U.S. team together right from the World Cup, like Randy Couture and we're gonna like Dan Henderson and Keith Sims and Heath Sims and Matt Linlin and just most of my Sunkiss Kid wrestling team and plus others. And they just had to change all the airline tickets, because we were at the World Cup in Germany and we were gonna go home or we were World Cup in some other country. I think it was Germany. And it's one of those cups back there that I had. And they keep saying the winner gets a car, a Jeep, and the loser gets a lot of money, like $10,000. This is to say thank you to our Russian wrestlers, but we don't want any foreigners. And I said, I'm not coming. You want me? I don't want to go there to Siberia in the middle of winter. There's no sun. And it was a very unique, exotic experience. I can tell you that. Most tournaments, they have banquets after. They spent $20 million on a banquet before the matches even started. They flew models from Italy in the bathing suit. They had a full sturgeon and kilo of caviar and 10 bottles of whatever you want to call it, alcohol on the table. And these are all before. And they give you platinum pins. Most pins are basically brass or $5 pins, but this was to commemorate the greatness of Alexander Karelin in his own hometown.
How old were you at that time?
Oh, I was in my 30s. I was getting ready for Olympics, and I just won the World Cup. And I had one of my best matches with him. It's so weird because I took him off the platform and threw him in his stands, and I got booed, but I got energy out of that. But I tell my family that is invigorating. You never know. A four-wheel drive Jeep in Russia are going to motivate you more than Olympic medal or bronze medal, or, it was like I wanted that card so bad. I didn't care who stands in front of me. But also it wasn't like a tournament that if I lose, I like don't place in Olympics or anything. I had nothing to lose. I went there because I was a good fighter, and I gave him a fight of my. He didn't like it. They took the second place trophy, which was a Harley Davidson. My coach comes up, he goes, "I got $17,000 cash for you." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Number one, the winner of heavyweights gets a four-wheel drive Jeep. Number two gets a Harley Davidson. And this guy wants to buy it because he knows he can't take it back to America." And they announced that the finals of the Karelin Cup is the most expensive prizes, and the winner gets a Jeep. The second place gets a Harley. So all the Russian team came over and congratulated me, my Harley. And when I threw him off the platform and showed disrespect, they gave the Harley to him too. So they gave me a camcorder that only works in Europe. It doesn't work in America. That was to let him know. He said to me at the podium, "This is my hometown, my tournament." They gave him a diamond and gold necklace. He says, "This is all from my mines. This is my city, my state." But that was experience by itself. Still, people talk about it.
How did he communicate with you?
He speaks perfect English.
Mm.
Most of them do. They like to use the interpreter. Even Putin speaks really good English, but they use interpreter for power.
So this match that I have on the program
Olympic
here,
finals.
This happened after? No, this happened before the event you just mentioned.
No, this is Olympic final. No, this happens after.
The other one no, he's 28. This happened in
Atlanta.
96.
96 Atlanta, yeah.
And this was before or after the Karelin Cup?
No, Karelin Cup was 2 years before that.
Okay.
Ну и на ваших экранах Александр Карелин, легендарный человек, легендарный боец. И его всего 28 лет, 29 исполнится в сентябре месяце. Двукратный олимпийский чемпион, шестикратный чемпион мира, девятикратный чемпион Европы. Все чемпионаты Европы.
I like the black and white.
Он только участвовал, во всех он побеждал.
That's what they showed it in Russia, black and white, I think. I don't know.
Серьезными. А его соперник, вы слышите, по
Yeah, I never been in that good a shape that I was there.
Say that again, please.
I said I never in my life ever been in that good a shape I was there.
Wow.
At 286 pounds, 17% body fat, with 2 years of hard training, 31 pull-ups and 110 push-ups and a whole bunch of unique training methods.
I've never heard of a large person be able to do 30-some pull-ups.
Oh, yeah. My coach had weights and chains. Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I couldn't do it in high school, but before that, 95, 96, I was super strong. And that was because of years of training and correct methods and all trying to peak at the right time.
July 24th in Atlanta.
Yeah, July 23rd, I won my medal. This is depends what country you are. This is how do I say,
Already
8
the
hours
next day?
forward. This is in Russia, so it's 8 hours forward. But July 23rd is my anniversary, medal anniversary. I have the tickets to prove it. My parents' tickets. I framed them. I framed the tickets. Just because it was the 22nd was the most important one. If I didn't win the 20 seconds, I wouldn't have made it to the final.
Is that someone with a camcorder filming this?
I believe so. I don't know.
Is
You
this
showing it to me? How would I know?
is this
You
this is
found
on,
it.
this is on
There's-
YouTube and
Yeah, there's 100 better version of it, but
oh, there's
yeah.
100 better versions. Let's see what we got there.
You got to get to Dick Amberg's special moments, because that's the one in YouTube that everyone shows. Is about the whole Greco team, but it talks about my dad, my family, and things like that.
Last night, as a team, Greco-Roman
it.
wrestlers finished their competition. They left Atlanta with hearts openly exposed. 34-year-old Matt Ghaffari is a heavyweight's heavyweight. He accepted with relish his gold medal challenge last night from the unbeatable, stone-hard Siberian Alexander Karelin. Like his U.S. teammates, this was for country and family, and his support group of 15 included his parents, wife, and 2.5-year-old daughter. He lost, barely, in overtime, 1-0. The silver was his. The 280-pounder then broke down on the medal podium. An Olympic medal winner, but a loser to the man he always beats in his dreams. He said, "I looked up and saw my flag, but I didn't hear my anthem. It broke my heart." Ghaffari's father fled Iran 19 years ago to take his children out of harm's way. Last night, his son said thank you the best way he knew how.
Top 5 most emotional moments in your life, you think?
Yeah. It was hell getting the medal back from my dad. I put it around his neck. That's what they were showing. You know, it's so funny. Everybody sees that part, but because you get drug tested, they grab you after you win your medal. And you're so nervous before the match, you go 10 times, nothing comes out, just a dribble. But took me 2 hours to pass drug testing, you know, and I come out, there's no family, there's no lights, there's no cabs, nothing. Just keep on walking towards the village. Because that drug testing is for heavyweight is the killer. We're the last match, and we always the last one to leave the stadium.
How far did you have to walk to get back to the village?
Oh, it wasn't that bad. Atlanta is a very good city. I mean,
This was
there's
before
so
you
many
had
good, so good. You know, I'm in my wrestling gear. And there's so many good Samaritans. They see the Olympic warm up. They ask, how can they help? You know, it was good.
Is this before you had a cell phone in Atlanta?
No, we had pagers.
Yeah, pagers.
That's the first time Olympic Committee gave every athlete pagers. When the bomb went off, we all had 911 pages. We all had to report to the village, to the dorms, to the team leader, and we went lockdown.
The question I had for you that we touched on before we went online today, if we could maybe wrap it up with this. I have several more pages of Google Docs that if we want to do 1 or 2 more, we could do that. Matt, can you tell me anything about performance enhancing substances in sports? And have you looked into the history of that and what sports have more problems with that than others?
Well, Sifu, as you know, every sport, it don't matter, is archery to weightlifting, has cheaters. Some of a state like China, the whole government, Cuba. I mean, they part of communism regime was you don't get surgeries, you don't get hurt, stronger you are. But also for archery and shooting, the calmer you are. But they're trying to figure out ways. So tell you an example that weightlifters told us, because everyone's doing it. And again, my information stops at 2004. So my information is 20 years old. But because everyone was doing it, the host country athlete, for example, in weightlifting, had the duty to provide PED to all his competitors. They did not want to get caught at the borders bringing it in. So if the competition was in Bulgaria, the Bulgarians would provide for every country, whoever wanted to use it or not use it. But they did not want the negative publicity that you brought a vial of PED into their country.
Mhm.
Now, in wrestling, just because you're controlled by weight, so the lighter weights used stuff to lean you out, like testosterone. So we had many athletes that tested above normal testosterone, and USOC will tell them what's going on. You're going to get caught, things like that. And then the heavyweights or upper weights, if they wanted to add muscle, lean muscle, they would use different kinds. The most competitors wanted to not get caught, use growth hormones, what they give to high challenge folks, and also is natural from back of the spine of the cadavers. So
What does the high challenge folks mean? The special ed?
no, the height
Oh,
challenge.
the height
the
challenge.
shorter, the short people.
Yeah, shorter people.
So if they can't grow, they give it to them to grow. So there is for years I was in an athlete advisory committee. The best way to catch them is blood testing, but that's too expensive. So the urine testing that's what they have. They try very hard with the A sample, B sample, but their whole governments and scientists, their job is to mask. So it is very diluted testing sometimes. But women at the age where they're supposed to slowing down are going faster and more stronger. Weightlifters were for years couldn't move hundreds of pounds. Women, men are throwing it up like it's nothing. So there is in wrestling, a lot of my competitors when I was competing against, you could name all the old communist countries, Bulgaria, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, all of those. The big guys, they wanted to be strong, where US Wrestling, to get additional funds, because we are not sponsored by our government, they signed their athletes for out of notice drug testing. So they would show up 4 a.m, 5 a.m, and you had no choice. And you had to be always checked before you even take a multivitamin by the USOC drugging department, because even over the counter or even whoever sponsored, you always look for free nutrition supplement as an amateur athlete, but you have to always get it clear, because you would get banned for 2 years. So if I was going to Olympics or World Championships and I drink 3 cups of coffee before a match, I'd be banned for 2 years for failing drug testing. They won't say what. Most people assume, PEDs, but it's just a total caffeine, And the same for archery. If their pulses are slow and they're not nervous and they take Xanax, they take marijuana, you never know what. Everyone's looking for an edge. I remember in one of the, how you just sit around after competition and just talk with your competitors, just, how the competition went and everywhere. And my thing was, I want to win a medal. That's not me. Any foreign substance. I was from the culture that we never drank alcohol, never smoked anything. Good Lord, if I had a little bit of too much red meat, things like that. So it's different. I mean, I said to them, I will go buy you a trophy. That's not you. The chemicals you bought made it not you. You might think, yeah, it's like equivalent of 10 weightlifting, but same thing in college with all athletes. They get a strength and conditioning coach who, instead of design a weightlifting program like my weightlifting program coach did, they just start pushing substance that to them. I remember I asked them can I have creatine? And he's like, why? I'm like, well, it holds water in your muscle and my numbers go up. He says, well, I'd rather your numbers go down and you be you, natural. We don't do things for numbers.
Which numbers are you talking about?
So creatine makes your bench press, your squat, all your weightlifting numbers go up. We had a wrestler pass away a long time ago in Michigan because we're dehydrated from taking creatine, trying to lose weight, but also want to be strong. So it's kind of everyone's looking for an edge to outdo themselves. I remember I never heard PR, personal record. My thing was world record, Olympic record, I break my personal record every day. I try to be better than yesterday every day. Now if you go in the gym and it's like, oh, I bench 100 and some pounds, oh, PR. I had to ask him, what's PR, personal record?
The
Well,
idea
Sifu, did I answer your question?
you did. I'm going to show one video here,
Sure.
which you may have seen before. Whoops. The idea of cutting weight. So I lose weight historically, and now that I'm 61, is the first time I gained weight out of nowhere when I was in Florida, about Mexico and then Florida. So I started putting on weight. And of course, you want to put it on in your muscle. I want to put it on my face. And I was putting it on in my abdomen area for the most part, and then it slowly works its way up. We're like a glass. You lose weight in the face first, the top of the glass, and you lose it at the bottom later. So you lose it and you gain it in opposite ways. But what I did is, I think I was in a happy zone, low stress, older person, and I was doing more pasta and good sleep. And so I was putting on weight, but I put a lot of it on. It was the first time in my life that I had a gut that was sizable for a thin person, well, from me being a thin person. So now I've been doing some more fasting, intermittent fasting, and it's coming off. But to me, it's always been hard to do that. So when I got into a jiu-jitsu competition and it was 170 and under, I was at 169, and that was kind of the weight I'd been at for maybe that entire year. So I was pretty strong 169, and I was in my 40s, and I might have been 48, and I was grappling against the people. They were like college age. They were 19 to 22, most of them. And what I think I did better in that competition than they did is I slept better. I partied zero. A lot of college people party. Had my nutrition down, my training down, my tennis ball rolling, and my acupressure, my chiropractics, and my mind was clear. And I'm not studying and cramming for exams and writing term papers like these kids did. So I had a more balanced life and a more balanced athletic program, I think. And I was able to do really well in that tournament and wound up getting a gold medal. But the weight thing, I could see how being right at the cusp of that weight gave me a lot of strength. And these kids were all different sizes. Typically the short, stiff, shorter jointed person are the toughest ones for me. I'm gangly, and they can move me around with my looser joints. But I was in a really good functional fitness zone at this time. And the guy who was the short, stockier guy, I was able to move him, and so kind of everything clicked. And you know how it is when everything clicks with you. Tell me if anything I said, you have any comments on, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, short, stocky guys always give everyone trouble because the center of gravity is lower. So that's the problem. And also, it becomes like moving a big, heavy barrel. 50-gallon barrel is a lot harder to move because you can't get a hold of anything. Some of those kids, to come to that weight, sometimes they think the heavier they are, and they go on a sauna and fast for a day in wrestling. You know, people cut weight, and then they said, after I make weight, I'm going to gain it, but then they become waterlogged and they cannot move as good. Your body doesn't know how to do with everything. When you're in a zone, basically you're locked in. You have blinders on, you don't hear anything, you don't see anything. You focus on what you want to accomplish, not what everyone else is doing. The minute you start looking at who's the referee, where the lighting is, where is out of bounds, you lose your concentration. For me, the age was really never an issue. I was a late bloomer. I won my medal at 34. I competed. I always I was not even eat fish for a couple of years, anything with nervous system. Eggplant was basically it, and rice and nuts and tofu. But you're clairvoyant when you are healthy. When you're not fuzzy with you. I want to tell you, the biggest thing you said was partying. You can't chase girls and gold medal same time. It's like two rabbits going the wrong way. You know, they asked my daughter the other day, what time your dad goes to sleep? She's like, 5. The sun is out. Well, I get up 3:45. I'm an early morning person, but I go to bed at 7. And I know that my body heals itself. I had surgery and COVID and all that stuff, and I am back 10 kilos, which is 22 pounds below where I competed. Everybody says they're in the high school weight. I'm like, well, I'm in my 10th grade weight. I was a heavyweight in high school, but I was at baby fat on. So it goes back to the ice bath that we started with, is discipline. I haven't had red meat of any kind since Christmas, when my mom shoved something in my mouth, you know. But what makes you happy? I look at longevity. We cannot help getting. Time goes like this. You're sleeping, me and you just talk, and we've been on the phone for an hour, 25 minutes. The time is ticking. As soon as I close my eyes, the time is ticking. You can't get it back. So I cannot help getting older by a minute, but definitely can help getting healthier by what goes in my mouth. The most powerful drug is what you consume. You think is food, but mostly it's poison. I just saw a lady in the gym working out today in my gym and was eating something. I said, I will buy a box of those and give you $100 if you could pronounce everything that's in the ingredients. And she says, I can't. I'm like, you see all those dioxide, they're illegal in 7 countries because they're carcinogens. But, you know, you are just got to reverse the aging process by try to understand that it don't matter you do any sport, basketball, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, karate, your heart is the only muscle you got to focus on. Because when the heart goes, everything else goes. Second thing is your brain. So you can have a good heart, not a good brain, they really don't matter. So those 2 things, they offered a lot of money for me to go to Ultimate Fighting. I was coaching. I was, Dan Severin was my partner and roommate at 84 Olympics. And he was the beast, the making, It's like, they can fix broken shoulders and knees, but you get kicked in the head once. I went to a seminar to promote bicycle helmet, and the doctor says, I can fix everything but what's between your ear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are in a time that my mom, sorry about that. My mom sees something on TV. She doesn't know what it is, but the commercials make it delicious, and she is craving it. So we eat with our eyes. And I weigh myself and send pictures to all my coaches. So just scale don't lie. And being healthy and doing your exercises. Again, your brain thinks today is a great day to be happy in the happy zone, getting what we call executive workout, a little bit of sauna, a little bit of jacuzzi, a little bit of pool, and get a massage and call it a R&R day, But that's when you have to be a savage. I remember my high school wouldn't let us work out at Christmas. We had to drive 20 minutes in the snow to the neighboring high school to work out. And we worked out twice. There is no days off. Easy day was yesterday. And if you think you need a day off and you need a break, you already showed the chink in the armor. You short circuited. So get your bag ready. You don't have to be motivated. You don't have to want it. You just have to get going. As soon as you break a sweat, or we call it burning your lungs. As soon as your lungs start functioning and burning, you go into automatic mode, all that. You just got to be quiet the voice in your head, and your brain wants to protect you. Your brain thinks you're doing too much. My brain was telling me, why are you doing this? Why you want to go on YouTube? Took you a long time to get experiences. Your stories are unique to you. And, and again, it's about digital footprint, and, everyone has a hidden agenda. The idea is you always risk reverse and want to protect yourself. And on the other hand, when you're sitting on the meal, people order appetizers for the table. I never seen a table with a mouth. My mom was like, oh, I like finger food. And people would eat it. And he's like, I won't. Yeah, my kids think I'm extreme. My people who know me think I'm crazy, but that means I'm on the right track. I'm locked in and focused.
How's your intuition today? Because I have a test if you want to try something.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to show you four different fruits, and tell you at the end, I'm going to tell you that there's only one that I trust. There's the first one. You see it?
Okay. Yeah, avocado, that's no brainer.
There's the second one.
Mango.
There are the thirds.
What are those?
Limes.
Limes, yeah.
And here's the fourth.
Pear.
any of those, can you guess which one is the only one I trust because of its source?
Source.
And I just
So
love.
I'm getting good at reading the I used to joke around, whoever put that sticker on really wanted to mess with Americans. I think that guy was a terrorist because you can't get that sticker off a apple or orange. But now I'm learning when it ends at 9, is it organic or not? If it ends at numbers, would tell you something. So the minute I understood that, now I love those stickers. I read it. I don't know what the origins is. Most of them are all from down south. But my personal favorite is number 1, avocado. And number 2 is the lime. You can't go wrong with the acid. Lime will clean everything up. But I wash everything. Sometimes with baking soda water or baking soda and vinegar. I believe in everything we eat has pesticide and all kinds of junk in it. But when they have skins like little oranges or lime, because of the acidity, I don't think the pesticide or chemicals can penetrate. But that's my humble opinion.
So the one that was natural is the only one I know about is this one, the mango.
Yeah.
And I was staying at a home with a mango tree that might be 40 or 50 years old. It's a huge mango tree. So I'm in my bed, sleeping or working on my computer or on the phone. And out of nowhere.
You're working too much. That's why you gain weight. You should be on a judo mat, jujitsu mat once in a while.
Yeah.
Or
So
yoga. Go under the mango tree and do some yoga meditation.
well,
Sorry.
I do 3 hours of physical stuff even when I don't do jujitsu or tennis
Yeah.
or that kind of thing.
I'm
So
6 hours
you're
because I'm
6.
slow a bit to it. No,
Wow.
I take breaks and drink and take my rest.
Yeah.
I have to be like Olympic Training Center. When I leave, I gotta not come back for 6 hours.
So
But go ahead. You were saying under the mango tree.
I'm in my nice 1 bedroom, and it's a small house in the back of a larger house in West Palm Beach. And out of nowhere, I'd hear a bang on the roof. And it's another good sized mango. That's a pretty good sized mango. I mean, you drop that from about 25 feet and you're going to hear a bang on a roof. So, I mean, if I had a pacemaker, that would have shocked the hell out of me. Luckily, I don't have a pacemaker. But, the mangoes were very helpful to my health. And another thing that I did starting last year in Florida, spent a lot of time in California since the 80s and been in Sacramento and San Francisco and mostly in Santa Barbara. And I swim out there in the Pacific, and they have sharks, but there are very few incidents of sharks at the shore. Matter of fact, since I've lived there, I've probably asked more than 400 people, surfers that I've met. People have even gone back to the 1950s surfing. I said, have you ever seen a fin? And only 2 people out of all those 400 people have said they've ever seen a fin near where they were surfing. But when I started coming to Florida in the wintertime, I started asking the lifeguards about sharks, and they're telling me all the migrations, the weather patterns, and all the different sharks in the area. And the waves are different, and there's more current in Florida, more riptides. So I didn't do my lap swimming out in the ocean like I did in California, but 2 years ago near West Palm Beach, I started having some depression, and I thought it was a biochemical depression. Something wasn't right in the mind. So I said, let me see if I can heal that by doing something very challenging. So I went right out from where I was staying on Singer Island, and I swam in a storm. And it could have been lightning, but I didn't care. I was depressed. I said, I got to push the limit, like Lieutenant Dan on Forrest Gump. Is that all you got, God? Come and get me. That's the way I was. And I started swimming, and I'm out there in the waves, and I found that I could do it. And anytime I'm in Florida, I swim in all conditions. Don't worry about the sharks. And the depression subsided instantly after being able to challenge myself out in those waves. So over to Matt to share a final word on, pushing the limit sometimes to assist you in navigating and diminishing states of anxiety and depression?
So we have a saying, Sifu. It's you gotta do something crazy, unorthodox, something out of your norm, climbing a mountain, swimming in the ocean, having a goal that not attainable, but you're gonna go for it anyway. Things like that not only refreshes your discipline and your steadfast, but once the mind knows that you are not gonna quit, the body falls in. The most important thing is the mind. It is a daily, hourly challenge. But once you set your goals on something that is ridiculous, and people are gonna either laugh at you or tell you you're crazy, you're on the right track. Who you have to answer to but yourself. You're 61. You earn that right to do whatever you want. I don't like to wear ties. I used to wear it for work. I used to wear it for events. I feel good in warm-ups sometimes. I dress cargo pants and a shirt. I'm okay. And if someone says something, I'm like 62, senior citizen here. I earned the right. But I'm intrigued by your fruit because I used to eat a lot of fruit. Now I monitor which one spikes my sugar. So I will pass on mango. I pass on sweet fruits. Even apples, I only go for green ones now. I have 3 doctors. 2 of my brothers are doctors. My oldest, the daughter who you saw in that video, she's a doctor. And 3 hard-boiled eggs and a green apple is a great meal without sugar spike. I just read a story that they said breakfast is the most important meal, but actually it's not. It was made up by post cereal commercial. And that's the worst thing you can do, is spiking your sugar at first thing in the morning, and you're hungry the rest of the day. So the more I read, every day I try to, again, I'm extreme. I don't watch TV. I gave up TV. My family thinks I'm crazy, but I have a whiteboard, my wish board, because of you know how it is. You're coaching, traveling. There's a lot of logistic. People don't know how you got to balance cutting the grass, going to the gym, feeding the dog. I'm monitoring dog's weight, make sure he's walking and eating right, things like that. It just out of sight, out of mind. And I put it right in front of me instead of TV. And I have it right in front of me, just like I'm competing for Karelin. It's just life. So my goal is to live longer than Karelin, be healthier than Karelin, be way less than Karelin, things like that. But you have to be extreme and do crazy things. But sugary fruits, I'm very, I am studying it still. I'm reading. Every day I'm understanding. I thought having 2 little oranges and an apple and the banana was great. I find out that the green apple is better than, and if it's engineered fruit, one of those half apricot, half plum, just throw it out. There's no fruit in there. There's all chemicals. So, I am still, just learned the other day that never ever put any fruit in a blender. Never ever in your smoothies or protein shakes put anything. You put a banana in there, you change the sugar and absorption, and when you pulverize something, it becomes something else. So, every day is a new challenge about eating, about discipline, about sacrifice. It reminds me of Olympics because you have to sacrifice a lot of family time traveling 6 weeks to Russia and Europe. Now you're sacrificing what you buy. You know, I get yelled at for not bringing poison to my house. Someone else can't, but I'm not.
How is Karelin's weight these days?
I don't know. Because he's from Siberia and he was a 4-star general. I don't know. I told you that or not. He got paid by military as a 4-star general. He used to come to practice in helicopter. He told me he was going to take me bear hunting when I was in Siberia. I said to him, I'm like, I have a very friendly heart. I don't want to kill the bear because I'm thinking about having cubs and everything. He says, no, we're in a helicopter 1 kilometer down. I'm like, but that's not much of a hunting. You're in a helicopter shooting something down. No, we have soldiers who get paid to go bring it, and we will eat the heart and the liver. And I was like, it's not for me. And my son loves fishing, and I can't take the hook out. For a guy who did all kinds of torturing wrestling moves on people off the mat, I don't have it. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to do. I did not want to do ultimate fighting or mixed martial art. There is no dark side. I'd be thinking about the guy's kids when I'm punching him. You know, I'd be telling the referee he cannot protect himself. I don't want to hurt him. You know, things like that.
Yeah, I have Dan Severin's phone number in my phone, and he was very nice to me several years ago. And he said the same thing. He said he could have beaten up Hoist Gracie in the match where Hoist was able to put a triangle choke on him. He said he didn't have it in him to smash his forearm at that time down into somebody's face. But, you know, in the subsequent years, he did that kind of stuff. But I understand it. I don't want to look down and see somebody's face getting bloody and their nose getting twisted and broken.
You know, people think like being an Olympic medalist, I'm proud. I'm proud being American. Took my family 13 years to get a green card and become a citizen. It wasn't like overnight. I mean, it is turning down pro wrestling because I didn't want my kids who are first generation Americans to see I made money by spitting on people and hitting people with a chair. You know, sometimes, you know, the signing bonus would be a house, but it would be really nice. But I looked at Kurt Angle, me and him went in the same recruiting. We both won a medal in Atlanta. We got on the limo. I met everyone. You know, he's got a fused neck. He's got all kinds of issues. Now, he's a great athlete and champion, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You find your path. They call it bliss, find your bliss. I call it find your path. And you say you were in a happy place. I go to my happy place. I'm in a sauna with the lights off 30 minutes and people think I'm crazy. And I'm saying, it's Palm Spring, is Arizona, you know, it's what relaxes me mentally. I'm in a happy place. We learned a lot. I mean, I have messed up a lot. I own it. I have yo-yoed my weight up and down. Depends if I was getting a promotion. You know, one of my jobs was as a business development director. I had 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 dinners. I would have soup and salad in one meeting and then go to 3 other tables down and have meal. But it was being a sociable and do things, but did all that for money just to put my kids and survive my family. But I decided, I think COVID was it. If I'm going to die, I'm going to ask you a question, Sifu. What is discipline to you?
Discipline to me is doing the right thing all the time. And that's my goal, is to
But what does that mean? Now let's open the onion. What's center of that?
Can we do that in our next conversation? Because I think I could go for an hour or so on that one.
To me, discipline is the ultimate act of self-love. I sacrifice right now not eating any carbs or red meat for the future success. I think COVID taught me that I had to be selfish. I thought about everyone else, try to take care of everything else. And if I was gonna die and I'm locked in, and that's the first time I didn't go to gym. I used to go to gym at 4:30. I'd be at work at 8 every day, just like clockwork. And not going to gym really messed me up. Arthritis came on. I have all the gym equipment, but it wasn't the same workout, not the same sweat, no access to sauna, steam, jacuzzi, cold plunge, locker room camaraderie. That's what I missed after Olympic, the team. But you make it up in your community of gyms, locker room, and friends, things like that. But yeah, you have to be selfish. You have to be disciplined, ultimate, loving yourself, making sacrifices, doing the hard things so you can enjoy and be happy later on.
Wonderfully put. That, if we never said another sentence, what what you shared is giving me a little bit of an emotional choking up, because I do so much effort to being a balanced person, helping others, doing the right thing, learning. I think one of my best skills is learning how to learn and learning how other people learn, which makes you a really good coach, because we all learn differently. But
Yeah.
I want to share just a little bit of one of my first interviews of famous people. This is just a little testimonial from, you mentioned Billy Mills before. He's one of the kindest people I've ever met. And,
Oh yeah.
and if we talk about kindness in our next interview, we can talk more about Billy Mills. But here's a little testimonial after he spent a few hours with me at his home in Carmichael up by Sacramento.
I'm Billy Mills, Olympic gold medalist in the 10,000 meter run, Tokyo, Japan. And my wife and I will go full circle 2020, going back to Tokyo for the games. And it's time for me to go to another appointment. I've got to do some stretching. I do a lot of, not necessarily yoga, but yoga type stretching. And I just want you to know I spent some time with Sifu Slim, and what an experience. Positive experience, empowering experience. Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
He's if I ever need a little pickup in my attitude, all I do is watch, some Billy Mills, and now I can watch some Matt Ghaffari. So it doesn't matter that
I haven't seen him like in 10 years. He's changed. Like we get older, but we just remember him, totally different. I remember them. But that was good. That was a good treat. Thank you.
Yeah,
Indeed.
we can, yeah, thank you, brother. Namaste. And
Namaste.
I came up with one when I lived in Hawaii. There was a restaurant called Shaloha. So I came up with Shalomaste.
Yeah.
So that's good for a round one. Anything you want to share, like your website or LinkedIn, or a way people can contact you if they need you for something?
I don't have anything. I don't want anything from anyone or anything.
You got enough.
I am a goat. I do the same thing every day. Soon as then I try to beat my alarm clock. I have internal clock and no feelings. Get up, get my coffee, and start the day. I have my chia seed, my heart of ham, my gojo berry, my golden berry, all in a glass already in refrigerator for tomorrow. And that's my fuel. I don't know, you read the book 30-30-30. That's a new concept right now. Someone patented 30 grams of protein, 30 minutes after waking up, and 30 minutes of exercise. Is working good. I am experimenting with it, having a lot of success. Just enjoying life every day. I try to, as soon as I come home from gym, do my laundry, get my bag ready for tomorrow. And right now I'm a little bit late in taking my vitamins and nutrition and being upstairs because there's no food allowed upstairs. So I go upstairs at 7 and with Gatorade or water or I have right now is alkaline water. Is I try to drink 1 bottle of that a day. There's not enough research out there. Everybody think is the another marketing sham, but I am have blind faith on Trader Joe's. So if Trader Joe's sells it, it can't be that bad. But,
So,
me and my
you hang on, but I'm going to say goodbye to the viewers out here. So we're gratitude that we've had this time. Very busy schedule on Matt's side and mine as well. I've got books in the works, coaching sessions, things that I'm doing, and very pleased to have learned and gotten moved emotionally from listening to Matt and opening up his heart, how his mind works. All these things have been very helpful to me, and that's one of the things I'm blessed with, because these interviews with people who are informed and motivated and very caring and achieve these incredible performance results and coaching results as well. It's helpful to me in my walk on this life, and that goes back to the village it takes to raise a child. And we're in many aspects, we're all children, we're all learning. We all need togetherness. We all need sympathy sometimes, structure other times. To keep on the right path with the assistance of others, and we need to help others and return, have that favor returned to us. And so I'm blessed and I'm moved. So wonderful interview, Matt. Thank you so much.
No problem. Let me finish it up by saying that my famous saying from Olympics: all the success and achievement should go to your heart, not to your head. Everybody looks up. Start looking down. You're never gonna catch up with zillionaires, billionaires, trillionaires. You're never gonna go on a blue shuttle to space, going up to the hemisphere and atmosphere and coming back. Just focus on people below you. You get so much gratification by helping others.
I agree with that. And so folks out there, please give us a like, share your comments, post this, and we'll catch you on
Follow Sifu.
the next
Slim.
video. Aloha.
Oh,
Hudafez.
shalom. Shaloha.
Shaloha. Shalom aste.
Shalom.